Ooh, we're coming at you from the Billy C studio in Lake George, New York, and it's time for Billy C's Change My Mind. And joining us, oh geez, I can't even talk today. Joining us for this week's Change My Mind is a guy who's making a comeback after not 1 or 2 years. How about 25? How about a quarter of a century? He's going to be the main event, Sal Cenicola, on April 13th in the Comeback to Reality event that's taking place in Florida. And Sal is joining us right now, and he's going to try to change my mind. Good morning, Sal. What's going on, man?
Good morning, Billy. How are you this morning?
Not too bad, brother. Not too bad. And I want to thank you for coming on our Change My Mind show. And I want you to change my mind because, to be honest with you, just like everybody else, I mean, on one hand, of course, we're broadcasting the event, and I'm really excited about that, and I know it's going to be a great event. But human nature's got me thinking, here's this guy who's 53 years old. He's an established guy, a successful business guy. He definitely doesn't need to get in the ring and put his body through not only the training that prepares you for it, but also the fight that's going to take place. And like many others, like a former world champion, Greg Haugen, called me. He says, "What's wrong with Sal, man?" He says, "Doesn't Sal know that this is for a young man's game?" He said, "I'm a year younger than Sal, and I wouldn't even think about doing it." Sal, change my mind, man. Why should we think that a guy like yourself at 53 is not only should be able to get in the ring, but will be able to compete at a competitive level?
Well, I'll borrow the words from my favorite president, Ronnie Reagan, and I'll say, well, there you go again. I'll tell you right now. I think from the very essence of the word fighter, boxer, we rise to the occasion. I think a lot of the times what character is established and built on the foundation, on a strong foundation of competition and boxing. It's a sport that an athlete is in tune with oneself. You don't rely other than on your cornermen and your trainers. It's not a team sport. So when you're out there, it's a very lonely sport, but in a positive fashion. You get to know your body, you get to know your mind. It's an intimate relationship you're having with oneself. And I think when you have the ability and the time where you can rise to the occasion and call upon yourself mentally and physically to get to another level, to rise above mediocrity, to do things that you're not supposed to be doing. Well, that again, you're a fighter. You're a combatant. You're a gladiator. You're not doing mediocrity. You're not doing what the average person has been trained, conditioned, and believes one should do. And I think I take it to that level, in that defined moment for me. I've lived a very clean life, Billy. I've never abused my body. To this day, I've never tried any drugs. I've never done anything like that. I never drank excessively. I just have been, hey, let me go by the books and let me live a good, clean life. Let me take care of my body, and let me see if it's good enough to take care of me. And I think part of my wanting to get back in the ring, people are becoming more and more familiar with my story, my history, and things like that. Yes, that's a burning fuse inside of me too, and I think when you ignite that and you look at, well, guess what? I feel good. I feel mentally, I feel great. I mean, I'm running every day. I'm out there doing my intervals, doing my sprints. I'm saying to myself here at 53 years of age, I don't know too many people 10 years younger than myself that would push themselves as hard as I'm pushing myself right now. And it doesn't bother me. It makes me feel unique. It makes me feel special, how I've always felt my whole life. And I think that my being true to myself and showing that, hey, I can make a goal, I can outline a program, I could make a plan and work a plan. That's been the story of my success in business, and that's going to be the story of my success with my return to the ring. And to see what level I'm going to be able to compete at and to evolve again will be a question. But right now, the body is working, the mind is working. I had all my medical tests that proved to say, hey, the doctor signed off. They say I'm in good physical and mental condition to participate as a fighter and to go through the training and the rigorous demands that the sport calls upon.
Well, let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. You know, you mentioned, it's an intimate relationship, with the sport and stuff. But 25 years. I mean, geez, I've had an intimate relationship with girls 25 years ago. And I don't know if I'd even want to go back to that. And I'm like the anti-Sal. You're living a good, clean life. Not drinking or anything like that. Well, I've made it. I guess I've made it a point to do everything you've held out on, so that would explain to me why I'm certainly not considering getting back in the ring after 25 years, and I totally understand, the open book and that whole aspect of it, and that's what really got me interested in it initially. But I think the main thing, and I wasn't with you guys at the press conference, but I watched the whole press conference, and I heard what the questions being thrown at you were, and people have constantly asked me about it since we started talking about this event, and it still comes back to the same question, and yes, I agree with you. You're in great shape, and you're medically cleared, and all those things are great. But the question that is still on everyone's lips is like, why? And how can you, change not only my mind, but other people's minds to at least think that, it's okay and that you're not going to be, aside from the medical issues, not having any and being medically cleared, why are you going to do this? And why should people think that, you're not putting yourself in harm's way? Or even worse, could you possibly be opening the door for other 50-plus-year-old athletes that want to, make a comeback? I heard that Michael Jordan is considering making a comeback. He just turned 50, So, I mean, is that another inspiration for you?
That's interesting. And you look at my generation and maybe generations surrounding my age. We had good old work ethics. We were basically fueled by the competition, not just the dollars, although that was a great incentive. But I mean, to be that kind of athlete, to rise above, to be the best in the world. That's a lot of fuel for one's fire, and guess what? One's ego. And I think that some of the athletes today, not all of them, there are those that shine above that are fantastic, that could compete on any level, any generation, and be champ. And they are certainly the ones that rise to the occasion today. But there are a lot of them out there today that I think have not had the kind of foundation of generations past, of good old hard work ethic, of not being spoiled and coddled, if you will. And I think, when I was coming up, you would look at most professional fighters having records with 60 fights, 70 fights before they even got a title shot, or maybe 50 fights. Today, I think it was maybe Leon Spinks, how in his 7th pro fight, he got an opportunity to fight and beat Muhammad Ali. But, I mean, that is more the norm right now, or coming up to. Seeing these guys going through 10, 15 pro fights, getting title shots, instead of working their own way, the old way up, 30 shots, 5 shots. It just is a different era. So I think I'm a throwback to the older generation, and I certainly have respect for every generation. These fighters today are very good, and certainly they're capable, and they probably earned their way up there, I'm sure. But it's just a different page, a different history, a different thing. And why? Why do I need this? Do I need this? No, I do not need this. I am a successful businessman. I have plenty to keep me busy. I do want to enjoy life and my lifestyle. So this, again, I think is a personal challenge, a personal opportunity for me to maybe close a chapter in my life and to, as I said, get back into the ring on that level to compete mentally and physically is something that I think is one of the things that I have to do to get on with my life and close this chapter, or develop it and continue reading it. Depends on how I feel. I'm not going to be crazy or stupid about it. If I feel that this is a good opportunity and I feel I can continue, hey, I'm going to do that. But we're going to listen to my body, and I'm going to make sure that I'm in tune with it, as I always am. When I run, when I train every day, when I'm doing my intervals, when I'm in the gym sparring, it's surprising. Even when I went back in the ring sparring, and I said, wow, I haven't taken a shot for 25 years. I wonder what that's going to feel like. Yeah. Boom, I took a good hard right hand. I didn't even think twice. It didn't even seem like it fazed me. So, again, maybe partly also, Billy, is I was never really abused in a ring. I never really took a beating. I probably had some great sparring sessions with Roberto Duran and Aaron Pryor and some big thumpers like that. But, I never really took a beating in the ring. And I'm not asking to start to do one now, but what I feel is I've been able to sustain a level of health and well-being through my 53 years, and I think I can continue and compete on a level that my body will tell me.
Bernard Hopkins is making yet another attempt at a world title this coming weekend. And a lot of critics, including myself, feel that, he's got nothing left to prove, and some of his people that are anti him fighting, not me per se, because I have my own reasons, but some, cite the age. And, he feels almost very similar to way you're describing. He claims he never took a beating in the ring, and until that happens, why should he stop? He's in great shape and everything else. You mentioned that it's a personal challenge. It's kind of blown up to a little more than that. I understand that it's going to be actually a world record once you step in that ring on April 13th. Should I be looking at this whole thing? I mean, as you're attempting to change my mind with my outlook here, should I be isolating this to be just Sal Cenicola, or should I be enveloping, other people that may be saying, you know what, Sal's doing this, Sal's showing the dedication. I'm from the same generation as him, and I agree. We had to work hard. We had to, live life cleanly, and today's, generation may not be the same. And yeah, I'm in good shape and all this stuff. Should you be the norm, or should you be the exception? I mean, how should I look at this?
Billy, I don't think they're going to be coming out of the woodworks. I think a lot of people my age or that generation, you will have the exceptions. You will have the people that say, hey, guess what? Sal could do it, so can I. And they will be the minority out there. I don't think you're going to see a whole plethora of 50-plus-year-old athletes coming out of retirement. And, but I think you will see those that really feel, hey, guess what? I could do that. I'm still in good shape. And it'll have to be on a personal level, on that level. I don't think you're going to see a whole flood of comeback attempts. However, I do feel this could be a precedent. This could be something that will tell people, hey, guess what? He could do it. Maybe I could do it. And you'll see some people out there attempting to do it. Whether the muscles, the ligaments, the tendons, and everything else want to respond and then tell you otherwise. That's a process. Again, I've been preparing for this. I've been taking extra care in preparation for this, knowing that physiologically your body has gone through changes, especially with a 25-year absence. So when you're going to call upon it to do explosive stress and pressure again, as if you're just 25, that you have to be careful. In fact, I'm in the gym, and the gentleman I'm working with, the trainer, very, very knowledgeable, very good European fighter. He was a Georgia Games champion, and I really do like the opportunity to working with him. He's in his 40s. But he even said to me 2 weeks ago, he said, Sal, we're just going to have to stop you training like a 25-year-old. You're not 25 anymore. And, yeah, then I pull the reins back and I think about it. Because I could still do it. I still, in my mind, maybe because I walked away from the game when I was at my peak, when I was in my prime, it's like it was a frozen in a time machine or something. I'm returning, and and this is unrealistic, Billy, but I almost feel like I've been off maybe 2 or 3 months, taking a little rest in between fights, and I'm resuming it. I mean, when I go out there, my body's coming up to the occasion. I mean, I'm sprinting. I'm doing my intervals. I'm doing my hard running. I'm doing my gym works. I mean, when I was with the old Army boxing team, I was training and doing drills on a bag. I'm doing those things again, and I'm feeling good. And, you know, maybe this is just a way that I can answer a few questions in that intimate personal relationship. What if, or how can I, or what's going to happen? That's fine.
Well, let me ask
my children. I want to give my children something to look forward to, something that they could. I have a 10-year-old and a 13-year-old, and this generation, I see them with their sports. Now, baseball is fantastic. I love baseball. Soccer is a great game, and they're involved in all these sports. And you know, I think at this young age, it's great that they have the opportunity to try things and to see if there's one thing they want to isolate, concentrate, and center on as they evolve to young adults and things. That's fantastic. But what I don't really find that is really good for a lot of these kids today is how they are coddled, how they don't learn about defeat, how everybody gets a gold medal. Everybody, win, lose, or draw, is a winner. And it is, at least they had fun. And, you know, that kind of mindset. And that's good when you're a young kid and you're evolving, and I don't want to give the wrong message there. But there is a time where you have to really realize and look at life and say, hey, guess what? You're going to win. You're going to lose. You're going to have to prepare yourself mentally and physically. It's not going to all be handed to you.
No,
so my kids right now, they're looking at me and saying, Daddy, you're working out. You're running. You're doing things that we've never even heard of. And, you know, I certainly want to just give them an idea that, boys, life isn't easy. It's a challenge, and it's a beautiful opportunity out there to never have another human being tell you and condition you to think that you can't do something. Because this is why you are an individual. This is why you are unique. This is why you can have no limitations placed on you by another person. So you listen to your heart, you listen to your dreams, you listen to your passion, and don't just go at it haphazardly. Learn. Do your due diligence. Look at the situation and assess and program and process and see if you want the goal that you can shoot for, if it's worth the price. That's always been my conditioning. That's always been my price, Billy, is a goal worth the price? Again, what is my price I'm going to pay to get back in the ring? I'm looking at it now, and I'm assessing. And right now, the prize is worth the price. Well, and if I didn't think it was, then I wouldn't say to myself, all right, you know what, you could be crazy, but let's not be stupid. And let's really look at this.
Well, maybe you're showing the kids that, you know, they could, become doctors and stuff, because they may have to learn how to feed you through a straw, you know, after your jaw gets wired shut after April 13th. But no, you make a great point about the competitive values and stuff. And you know, when my kids were growing up, you know, I got to coach them and all this stuff, and you know, that was the best times of my life. And you know, one of the things is I tried to teach the same thing you're saying. You know, listen, there's a winner and there's a loser. There's nothing wrong with losing. You have to learn how to win right, and you'll have to learn how to lose right. And you know, and what used to kill me is exactly what you said. Everybody gets a trophy, you know, and you know, even kids that are 7 years old that are playing t-ball, you know, and you're not supposed to be keeping score, and you're not supposed to be doing this. The kids know. Yeah, I used to say, all you got to do is ask the kids. They'll tell you what the score is. You know, they know what's going on. You know, it's competitive, and there's no question about it. Let me ask you this. Now, you're doing something that, I know that a lot of people are having a hard time grasping in terms of a 25-year hiatus and then coming back and you're stepping in the ring, with a 30-something-year-old guy and you're doing it like your mind is trying. I'm wondering if anybody showed you any video footage of like your old fights and then flashes back to you working at the restaurant and say, see, Sal, you have changed. You may think that you haven't, but you have, Sal. But the thing is this. You're entering the ring with another guy that's active today and everything, and that's going to be a great accomplishment, not only for your own personal reasons, but I think for the sport itself. But let me ask you this: I have made this suggestion a couple of times, and I've gotten mixed reviews, and it seems like you're the perfect person to ask this to. A senior league that would focus on guys. I'm not talking about, a 50-year-old that's, out of shape and, nobody wants to see him at the beach for sure, but a guy like yourself who's in good shape, late 40s to mid 50s or something, and you get matched with other guys similar to you. It kind of evens the playing field. If you're both in the same shape, so to speak, and you're both fighting, maybe we're treated as boxing fans into some very competitive and exciting fights. Is that something that you would be supportive of, or are you, head set on trying to compete, like Greg Haugen says, in a young man's, world?
Billy, great question, and it's been one that I've had to toggle with through the years because, you look at golf. You look at Old Timers Day in baseball. You look at you look at the Seniors Tour. You look at the Masters. You look at other sports. They do have an older division at times. They will respect the fact that maybe there's an opportunity for people to utilize their talents and their bodies and their minds to still compete at some level with common like athletes. Now, if you notice, in boxing, as you said, there are not too many people my age that want to even get back in the ring, let alone do it. Put their body through it.
Sal, there's no one your age that's doing it. There's no one that's 53. All right, let's make that perfectly clear. I mean, there is definitely not. I mean, Dewey Bozell, who served 20 years in jail for something he didn't do, he was 50. And he just wanted to fight one time, and he hung up the gloves, and that was it, So trust me when I tell you, and he had never fought before, so it wasn't like he was making a comeback. There is no, as far as I know, there's no 53-year-old. You're the only guy I know that that's doing this.
No wonder it feels a little lonely up here. Oh my goodness! But I'll tell you what, I think if there was a way that they could actually get a group of old fighters, let's say maybe 45 and up, that would want to try to do a senior division. First of all, they'd have to be medically cleared. And we all know that possibly there is more trauma that could occur to head injuries and body injuries, just sustaining through the demands at an older age than versus a younger age now. But let's say we had a senior division in boxing, or a masters, whatever you want to call it, golden year division.
Crazy. Let's just call it crazy division. Let's just call it that.
Yeah, we could do that too. I think that would have a pretty good marketability, and who knows who may throw their, no pun intended, their towel into the ring or their glove into the ring. And I think you'd see some of these guys out here that would want to try and get back there to see if their bodies and their minds could do it. Now, with that being said, I certainly think that it would also provide a venue and an avenue for these guys to come back on a level where maybe they can compete with common-like athletes at their age, or give or take 5-year window. I think after the age of 45, I think a 5 or 10-year window, it doesn't matter one way or the other. But And then, if they do sustain a level of success, who knows what it will yield in the future as far as, hey, let's get a senior division champion, Sal Rocky Cenicola versus the WBA champion, or whatever. Who knows? That would rise. That would also yield a lot of controversy, a lot of things there. But however, if people feel they can compete on that level, hey, that's why we're fighters. Because we go against the system, we go against the grain, we go against what the norm is. That's what you fight.
No, you're right, and I've always kind of liked the senior league thing, but again, well, listen, man, these change my minds go quickly, and we've come to an end, and I'm gonna tell you this, Sal. For the most part, I think your case is unique. And, if we were talking about generalization and because I'm in the same generation as you, and I have to compare that, that has to be something thrown in the mix. I would say that there's no way that you've changed my mind. However, because this is a unique situation, and I really believe that it has to be looked upon as such, and you are an exception and not the rule here. I think you're the exception and not the norm. Sal Cenicola, you have changed my mind on this issue, and I wish you all the best, and I can't wait to be there, and I know we're going to be talking more between now and April 13th, man, but you definitely changed my mind on the fact that you deserve this shot. You deserve a chance to show not only me but everybody else what you can do and what level you can perform at, and we'll take it from there, man. We'll see how it goes on April 13th, and we'll go from there, brother.
Well, Billy C., I really do appreciate having the opportunity to talk to you about this, and I'm just glad you didn't change my mind.
If I would have done that, I know a lot of other people involved would have been really pissed off at me, So, no. Listen, it wasn't about that, But Sal, I'm looking forward to hanging with you, and of course seeing you perform on April 13th. And we'll be talking soon, my friend.
All right. Thank you very much, Billy. You have a great day ahead, and we'll talk to you soon. Okay.
All right, brother. Take care.
Take care, brother. Bye-bye.
That was Sal Rocky Cenicola, and as you heard, Rocky Cenicola has changed my mind on this episode of Billy C's Changed My Mind. Hey, make sure you tune in to LDL TV next time. We'll talk to you then. Ciao, baby.